Okay, so imagine this. You put in a solid day's work today, you go to bed, and when you wake up tomorrow morning, you find out thousands of people engaged with that work. And even better, it actually generated revenue for you, literally while you were snoozing. It's kind of the ultimate seductive dream of the digital age, right? Well, in today's explainer, we're going to break down exactly how this modern magic isn't actually magic at all. It's rooted in a brilliant, structured strategy. So, how do creators actually pull this off? How do they earn money while catching Z's? Let's immediately separate the myth from the cold hard facts here. The myth is that these folks are just somehow getting paid to exist, or that sleep itself magically prints money. But the reality? It's far more practical. They're earning money because the things they created in the past are still out there, working tirelessly on their behalf, delivering continuous value to viewers around the clock. All right, let's really dive into this. The golden rule of content creation is this: today's income often comes from yesterday's work. It is absolutely crucial to understand this mechanic of long-term value if you want to grasp passive income. You see, you aren't getting paid for what you're doing right this exact second. Instead, you're reaping the rewards of the foundation you laid weeks, months, or maybe even years ago. To really see how this plays out, let's follow the journey of two hypothetical, but trust me, very realistic creators who decide to test this whole thing out. Meet Alex and Maya. They're both 24, they're working full-time jobs, and they are definitely dreaming of an income that goes beyond their standard monthly paycheck. One evening, Alex says he wants to figure out this whole making money while you sleep thing. Maya kind of laughs and points out the classic internet myth. You know the one. Just upload a single video and boom, the money starts rolling in. Alex admits it probably isn't quite that simple, but hey, they're curious enough to find out what the reality actually looks like. Alex decides to go first. He spends an entire, completely grueling weekend working on a finance video. I mean, we're talking deep research, scripting, recording, painstaking editing, and designing that perfect, clickable thumbnail. It is a massive amount of upfront work for just one single piece of content. Finally, after an exhausting couple of days, he hits publish. The anticipation is just sky high. He's so incredibly excited to see the results of all this effort. Well, one full week goes by. Alex checks his analytics, and this is the number staring right back at him: 47. Just 47 views. Ouch, right? It's a crushing reality check, and honestly, a massive emotional valley. All that intense research, the writing, the recording, the editing, all of it for just 47 clicks. Naturally, he feels terribly disappointed and is totally ready to just throw in the towel. But this is where Maya steps in and gives him a totally game-changing piece of perspective. She reminds him that literally every successful creator starts at zero, and she introduces a mental model that flips his entire approach upside down. Look, you gotta stop thinking about a single video and start thinking about building a library. Think about a physical library for a second. If you put one single book on an empty shelf, it's probably not going to attract a crowd. But what happens when you have 100 really useful books, or 1,000? Suddenly, people are visiting every single day to browse. A digital channel works the exact same way. Every single thing you upload becomes another asset that people can discover through search engines, platform recommendations, or just sharing with friends. A single successful upload in this digital library can keep pulling in new viewers for months, sometimes even years after you hit publish. So taking that to heart, instead of quitting, Alex gets back to work on his next piece of content. This library concept actually transitions perfectly into the snowball effect. Think about rolling a tiny snowball. At first, it barely grows. It literally feels like you're pushing it for miles and you have absolutely nothing to show for it. But as you keep going, every single meter adds more snow. It gets heavier, wider, and faster. Digital platforms grow exactly like this. Every new piece of content increases the mathematical odds that someone stumbles onto your work. Viewers subscribe, some of them come back for your next release, and others share it. The growth is agonizingly slow at the beginning, for sure. But consistency? That eventually creates unstoppable momentum. Fast forward a few months, and that snowball effect really kicks in for Alex. One of his older finance videos actually starts pulling in thousands of views. Maya sees this and asks the million-dollar question: so where does the actual money come from? Alex explains the bedrock of it all: ad revenue. But, it's not just a flat rate. The payout actually depends heavily on things like advertiser demand in your specific niche, viewer geography, and total watch time. And the absolute beauty of this system: viewers are consuming these ads and generating this revenue while Alex is fast asleep. The video just keeps creating value, and the platform keeps serving it up. Now, what's really interesting here is that ads are just one piece of the puzzle. Alex introduces what we call the small store analogy.
If you own a small brick-and-mortar store, you wouldn't rely on selling just one single product to keep the lights on, right? Successful creators do exactly the same thing to protect and scale their income. They build out things like direct brand sponsorships, affiliate programs that offer commissions, physical and digital goods like courses or merch, and even paid memberships for exclusive community access. The whole goal is to build multiple, highly resilient streams of income over time.
But here's the catch. How do you actually get people into your store or your library in the first place? Well, think of it kind of like opening a restaurant. In the digital world, getting people in the door requires really good food, meaning strong concepts and crisp audio. Turning them into returning customers, that requires delivering consistent value that earns a subscription. And staying open for the long haul means you have to relentlessly improve your craft. You gotta constantly refine the storytelling, the editing, the packaging, the pacing. Your audience is only gonna grow if the overall value of the experience just keeps getting better and better. So Maya is so inspired by finally understanding these mechanics that she decides to start her own project, teaching simple cooking recipes. Her first month is just brutal. Barely anyone is watching, and she comes really close to quitting entirely. But then a massive breakthrough happens. One specific recipe she uploaded begins popping up in search results. Months later, that single upload is still pulling in a super steady stream of viewers. And the best part? Those new viewers start discovering her older stuff and subscribing. Her past work is actively introducing brand new people to her current stuff. For the very first time, Maya truly understands the system. Her creations are out there working, even when she isn't. When we zoom out and look at their multi-year journey, it really puts everything into perspective. It takes months of relentless effort, failing, experimenting, and just learning the ropes to get even a tiny bit of initial traction. But fast forward 5 full years, wow, it's a completely different picture. Both Alex and Maya have built massive libraries of content and highly loyal communities. Neither of them became a success overnight. Building that massive, enduring library took years of deliberate, repeated effort. So the crucial point really comes down to this massive number, 300. Over those 5 years, Alex didn't just upload a handful of things. He had to create over 300 separate pieces of content. 300 separate instances of researching, writing, recording, and editing to build up that income-generating library. And Maya, she did the exact same thing to build her cooking community. Look, some of those uploads failed completely, zero traction. Others exceeded their wildest expectations. But together, all those hundreds of creations formed an incredibly powerful, enduring digital asset. Okay, before we wrap this up, we definitely need a reality check here. Everything we've talked about today is absolutely possible, but success, it is never guaranteed. The cold truth is that many people try this and earn little to no money. Ad rates constantly fluctuate with the broader economy. Algorithms are always evolving, which shifts how things get recommended. And honestly, the competition out there is fierce. Building this kind of success is definitely not a get-rich-quick scheme. It requires immense creativity, incredible patience, consistency, and a genuine deep focus on actually helping or entertaining your audience. If you take away just one single thing from this entire explainer, let it be this profound realization. The biggest lesson here isn't actually about any specific social media platform. It's about creating assets. A platform is just a vehicle. The underlying principle we're talking about applies absolutely anywhere. The true power lies in spending your time building things that have enduring long-term value, rather than simply trading your hours for a wage. And this brilliantly illustrates that digital assets can take so many different forms. It could be a highly researched video, a self-published book, a composed song, or even a clever piece of code. A true asset is something that continues to create value long after today's actual work is finished. So when someone says, "Oh man, I wish I could make money while sleeping," remember, they aren't actually getting paid to sleep. They're getting paid because a valuable asset they built yesterday is still out in the world, actively helping or entertaining people today. Which leaves us with this final, provocative question. What asset will you build today? Whether it's a piece of code, a written guide, or something completely different, you have the power to create something that outlasts your daily effort. Because at the end of the day, the most valuable thing you can possibly create is something that keeps helping people long after you've clocked out. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.